Movies you should watch. Evil Dead 2. What it is. The story opens with our hero Ash taking his girlfriend out to a secluded cabin in the woods. There they find a recording of the previous owner, a professor who had discovered an ancient and evil book called the Necromonicon Ex Mortis. After listening to a recording of his translation, evil spirits come in the woods and possess his girlfriend. He's forced to kill her and bury her in the wood. Then, as the sun begins to rise, Ash is attacked by the spirits and momentarily possessed. He fights it off, but soon his hand begins to turn on him, so he cuts it off with a chainsaw. From there, Ash descends into madness until the professor's daughter arrives at the cabin with her guides. Together, they have to fight back and reseal the spirits back into the book from which they came. Why you should watch it. Evil Dead 2 is a cult classic horror comedy directed by Sam Raimi and starring Bruce Campbell. If you haven't seen this movie, you've at least heard of it, or seen imagery of references to it. This film has some insane practical effects and some good old blood and gore, but it also manages to balance that gore and kind of make it wonderfully comical. There are some really cool stop motion effects that look kind of cheesy by today's standards, but that's kind of part of the charm of Evil Dead 2 to me. It stars the greatest hero in horror movies ever, in Ash J. Williams, who in this film was transformed from a sniveling coward that he was in Evil Dead to a smart-talking, one-liner given hero. Ash, by the end of this film, has a fucking chainsaw for a hand, and if you don't realize how badass that is, I really don't know what to tell you guys. Also, I would like to ask you, can you name any other hero in a horror movie? I mean, typically horror movies are about a villain or a group of people whose names just kind of wash over you and you just have to refer to them as that main girl, which I think should be more important in a horror movie. When I watch Evil Dead 2, I care about Ash because he's a relatable guy stuck in a shitty situation. And when you watch Saw, do you really care about, oh crap, who is this guy? What about the new Dawn of the Dead? I don't know who any of these people are. Now, something you may be asking yourself is, hey, this is Evil Dead 2, what about Evil Dead? Don't need to watch that, it's the first one. Why would I watch the sequel first? So, while Evil Dead is an iconic horror movie, I wouldn't call it a must-see by my standards. In fact, the events of Evil Dead are just kind of tossed aside in the sequel, with the intro presenting an altered story of what happened, so you really aren't missing much by not watching it. Similar to, Evil Dead 2 has inspired some great films, the clearest probably being Cabin in the Woods, with the titular cabin looks very close to the Evil Dead cabin. Sure, the cabin is supposed to look like a standard horror movie cabin, but I think they probably had Evil Dead in mind. Cabin in the Woods is very similar to Evil Dead 2 in the way they're both satires of the horror genre. While I would say Cabin in the Woods is far more obvious in its commentary, if you like Cabin in the Woods, then Evil Dead 2 should be higher on your list. Movies like Shaun of the Dead, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, Dead Alive, and Fido can all trace their origins back to this movie. So if you call yourself a fan of one or all these movies, then how the hell have you not watched Evil Dead 2? Watch it already! God, what are you doing? Conclusion. If you're looking for a horror movie, but you also kind of want a top-notch comedy, then this is a must-see cult classic that will not disappoint, baby.